What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. A rough week for our Spurs, as for the first time this year, they go winless. An 0-3 week, they lost to the Lakers, the Clippers, and rounded out the week by getting destroyed by the Timberwolves. I normally do my recaps on Sundays, but since the week ended on Thursday, I figured I'd drop the recap today, which is a Saturday if you're watching it, later next week. Drop a comment down below. What do you think of the Spurs right now? Do you think any changes need to be made to the starting lineup or the rotation off the bench? Do you think the Spurs are going to get to the 26 wins needed for Pop to get the all-time coaching record? Or are they going to fall short and end up being a top 3 lottery pick type of team, which, granted, we haven't had a top 3 pick since Tim Duncan 2 decades ago, so maybe the team does need that, even if they're not trying to do that. No, I don't recommend tanking. Anyway, hit that thumbs up if you like to support the channel, subscribe for more Spurs content. Let's get into my recap and record card. It is time for the good, the bad, and the oogly. Let's go ahead and start off with our point guard, DeJounte Murray. I thought he had a good week. I thought his shot selection could have been better. Shooting percentage was a little on the low side, 43% and only 27% from beyond the arc, and really still struggling from the free throw line. 60%, DeJounte? Come on, man. What are you doing? But anyway, overall, 18.3 points per game, 10 rebounds, 7.7 assists, and 2 steals. Those are numbers that I think he can maintain throughout the year. I always figured he'd be an 18, 8, and 2 type of player, and he's doing that this year, and he should get some recognition for the All-Star game, even if he doesn't make it in there. DeJounte's having a good year, but he really needs the rest of the team to step it up as well, and as the rest of the team gets better, hopefully, his numbers should get better, and his shooting percentage should go up as well. Let's get on to our shooting guard, Derek White. I thought this was a good week. Based on the last few weeks he's had, especially the last week, which was ugly, this was a good performance overall for Derek. Shot much better from the field. Still struggling from beyond the arc, which a lot of our team is, but he hit all of his free throws, hit 46% of his shots, dished out 4 assists, got 1.3 steals, and is back to double-digit scoring at 11 points per game. Hopefully Derek can continue to build upon this, because if he starts playing again like he did last week, more and more Spurs fans are going to be calling for him to go to the bench and another player to start in his position. We'll circle back to that in just a moment. Up next, our small forward, power forward, sometimes center. Don't get me started on that Timberwolves game. Keldon Johnson. I know a lot of you are saying Keldon's overrated, and yes, people are saying that, and he shouldn't have the starting spot. I thought Keldon had a good week, and my goodness, Keldon was the best three-point shooter on our team. He was nailing them left and right. He seems to have changed a little bit in the way he's shooting, and he hit about 63% of his threes. He was going nuts this week, and he improved at the free throw line, 86%. The only problem with KJ's game is he seems to have reversed what he had been doing the first few weeks of the season. He was hitting his 2-pointers and not his 3-pointers. Now he's hitting his 3-pointers, not hitting his 2-point field goal shots. His 2-point field goal percentage is obviously down because his overall shooting percentage is 47%, yet he's hitting 63% of his threes. So if Keldon can put it all together, get his 2-point game and 3-point game, and keep hitting free throws, he could be back to scoring 20 points per game. I don't think we've seen his ceiling yet. He's been playing out of position a lot, trying to guard bigger players or getting guarded by bigger players. I think there's still a lot of potential in Keldon. I would still start him. And this is only his second year as a starter, so I would keep rolling with him for now. The Doug. This is a bad week for Doug. He only shot 36% from the field and 29% from threes, and that's what we brought him in for. He's not going to be a defensive stopper. Yes, he certainly tries. He hustles, but he's not a shut-down defender. And Doug, when he's not hitting his shots, much like Bryn Forbes, not really an asset to the team on the floor. With all due respect to Doug McDermott, I don't think he'd be a starting power forward for most NBA teams. I like him. I don't think he's a long-term answer at the 4 spot. He is a maybe starting 3 or backup 3 in a lot of teams. I'm sorry if you're a Doug fan. I just don't feel like he's the long-term answer at the 4 spot, and it's definitely hurting the team when he's not contributing offensively. Moving right along, let's go ahead and get to maybe the last week as a starting center, Drew Eubanks, and for what he did, I thought Drew had a good week. He's not a starter. He's going to go back to the bench. I don't know what kind of minutes he's going to get with Thaddeus Young. Hadn't been playing fairly well. We'll get back to him in just a moment, too. Drew hit 50% of his shots, all his free throws, 7.3 rebounds, 6 points per game. It's about what I expect from Drew, whether he's starting or coming off the bench in about 20 minutes per game. So for him, that's good. He did what I expect him to do. I said I'd circle back to something a little bit. This is what I was going to circle back to. Devin Vassell. Lots of talk about Devin Vassell should get the starting nod at shooting guard over Derek White. And some people are saying that Devin should get the starting nod over Keldon. I get that too. Thing is, I feel like we've seen the ceiling with Derek White. And I'm going to do a video about Derek and Devin, but I think we may have seen peak Derek White with Bubble Derek, which was, 18-5-5? Devin Vassell, we have no idea what his ceiling is. Keldon Johnson's only, 22? Derek's 27. We don't know what Keldon Johnson's ceiling is. So I'd rather start Kelman and maybe start Devin, who had a great week, over Derek possibly in the future. I think Derek's still going to get a chance to break out of this funk. Devin had a great week, 24 minutes per game, just under 52% from the field overall, 40% from beyond the arc. 4 rebounds, 13 points per game. Yeah, he had a bit of a dud against the Clippers, but just about every player on this team has been up and down throughout the season. Devin's making a really strong case to start, and there were a few plays, I think it was against the Wolves, where he stole the ball and then had a fast break dunk. He even dunked against the ball boy, who was in the way against the Wolves. So he's really growing right before our eyes, and he's young. He's young, and he's a little bit bigger than Derek and a little lengthier, so he could be a starter by the end of the year. Time will tell. Up next, Lonnie. I like Lonnie Walker. I really do. This was an ugly week for Lonnie Walker. In 20 minutes per game, he only shot 25% from the field, and that is not a typo, .063. He shot 6% from beyond the arc. He was 1 of 16, averaging 6.7 points per game. Some folks like this stat, some don't. He was minus 12.3. What's really sucks for Lonnie right now is this is a contract year. He's got to prove to the Spurs, hey, I'm a part of your future. You need to sign me because I'm gonna be the guy. And he has been having overall a rough year. I believe shooting-wise, he's definitely under 40% for the year. He's shooting worse than he did last year, averaging, I think, a little less points per game. He hasn't shown any growth. He's showing us still crazy athleticism and the ability to create his own shots. The problem is a lot of shots aren't going in. And as it stands right now, if I had to look at Lonnie's body of work, I would say he does not get extended by the San Antonio Spurs, or he gets extended with a sign and trade. I don't think he's going to be a Spur next year unless something turns around in the season. When you got Devin Vassell producing and you got Josh Primo waiting in the wings, Lonnie's days could be numbered with the San Antonio Spurs. And I hate saying that, but I'm not going to, I've got to call it like I see it. Speaking of calling like I see it, Thaddeus Young. Well, I thought overall he had a good week. Man, this dude cannot hit a free throw. Look at this, 25% from the free throw line. What are you doing, Thad? Seriously, stop practicing with Jakob. I thought he had a good week. He was a switchblade, Swiss Army knife, doing a little of everything. We saw his minutes reduced against the Timberwolves with Jakob coming back, and I think his minutes are going to continue to get reduced as Pop will likely go with Jakob Poeltl, Drew Eubanks, and then Thad as the rotation at center. Jakob could get the start next Monday against the Suns. I'm not sure if he'll be ready, but we got a 3-day weekend to get his cardiovascular endurance to get going. The Spurs have a few days off, so maybe he'll be ready to start, maybe not. But even if he doesn't start, Drew will start, and Jakob will be the primary guy off the bench, and Thad's going to see limited spot action, I think, moving forward. I think probably going to get traded before the trade deadline if there's any takers. Last but not least, Bryn Forbes. Why is he here? I like you. I'm rooting for you, but man, his minutes are he's averaging 12 and a half minutes per game. I think he's averaging 5 points per game. It's just he's not getting the opportunity, and with Devin Vassell stepping up and taking minutes, Bryn is now just playing spot minutes here and there. Had a horrible week. It was an ugly week. He shot 30% from the field. Didn't make a three-pointer, much like Doug McDermott. We didn't bring in Bryn in for any defense whatsoever. We know he's a turnstile on defense, but he can hit the three. He's a shooter. He's a sharpshooter. And he's not making his shots. Much like Doug, he's a liability on the court. And Bryn had a horrible minus 12.7 while he was on the floor, and that's kind of really rough when you look at 12 and a half minutes per game. His plus minus was actually, gosh, it's the first time this has happened this year. His plus minus was actually higher than the amount of minutes per game he played. That is just not going to cut it. And part of that's that micro small ball lineup that the Spurs have been going with. I believe at one point in the Timberwolves game, I saw Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Bryn Forbes, Lonnie Walker, and Trey Jones on the court. Something like that. The tallest guy in the court was 6'5". I saw Keldon lining up against Karl Anthony Towns at center. I have no words. This team is too small right now. Hopefully with Jakob back, that'll correct that. But I really question, four players looking at this list of players out of the 9. Doug McDermott, Lonnie Walker, Thaddeus Young, Bryn Forbes, do they fit our long-term plans? I don't think so. Sucks to say that, but I think we'll not see. Doug will be here probably next year because of contract situation, but 3 of those 4 guys might not be here next season. Anyway, let's get into the incomplete grades for the week. Jakob Poeltl played 1 game, was clearly out of shape against the Wolves, so moving right along. Jacques Lindell still out, health and safety protocol. Don't know when we'll see him again. If he is healthy, is he going to get any playing time? I don't know. KBD played about 13 minutes this week, whatever. Nothing special. talk about. Trey Jones played in 2 games, played about 12 minutes per game, averaged 7 points per game. He actually looked good in limited action. Trey Jones starting to get more comfortable with the offense, could contribute maybe in the future. And then Josh Primo and Joe Wieskamp out in the G League playing well. Josh Primo had a huge game in their first Austin Spurs game, and then I believe Joe Wieskamp had a big game in their second G League game. I don't really follow the Austin Spurs much. Maybe I should try to follow them a little more. But from what I hear, they've been playing well. And then Zach Collins still out until after Christmas. Again, I don't think he'll be back until next year, sometime in January. Let's get into my player of the week. It's going to be Devin Vassell. I see the growth, and a website did a comparison of Kawhi Leonard and Devin Vassell at age 21, and there's a lot of similarities. And I'm not saying Devin Vassell's going to be the next Kawhi Leonard, but you see tenacious defense, some great defensive plays at times, great rotations. You see three-point shooting that Kawhi I don't believe had early in his career. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember how Kawhi was at the start of his career as a three-point shooter. Showing now an ability to get above the rim and run his own fast break. The mid-range game, he's starting to develop his own shots. There is a lot of potential with this young man, and he could end up being one of the best players on our team by the end of the year, and is really, really making a strong case to be a starter. Up next, we got the Suns, Hawks, and Celtics at home. I believe next week the Spurs play Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I will be calling all 3 games. I'm going to be calling more Spurs games again. You guys may remember I was calling some Nets games here and there. I just wasn't invested in all, to be transparent. I was like, you know what? I'd rather call Spurs games and watch my team lose than watch the Nets and watch them win or lose, but not be invested. And that also give me doing less live streams will free up time to do a little more content for the Yankees, Giants, and United States Women's National Team. I really haven't done content for them at all in the last few months, and I'm a fan of all those teams and would like to get back into doing content for all of them. So, thank you for all of you that stuck by the channel. It's been a little bumpy ride, a very bumpy ride this year, as I kind of corrected it by doing the Spurs. I thought I was correcting it by just kind of sticking to the NBA, but I'm not really a fan of doing any of the NBA team besides the Spurs. This is the way it is. I tried, and I just don't care about any other team than the silver and black. And of course, for other sports, I care about the Giants and the Yankees and the U.S. Women's National Team. By the way, I will call at least one New York Giants game this year. I will call the Giants. For those of you that are still watching the Giants and the Cowboys, a lot of you have been asking for that. I know a lot of you are Spurs fans because you live in Texas. You're also Dallas Cowboys fans. And I think that'd be a lot of fun to call a Giants-Cowboys game when that happens. I believe sometime later next month. I'll probably get trolled a lot because you guys will probably annihilate us because the Giants suck. But I was like, you know what? I want to do a Giants game once on a blue moon and have fun with the channel. And I've been having fun again. I want to do more Spurs videos like I did last year. Not one every single day, but maybe do a little more analysis videos here and there. Now I'm rambling. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for support. If you're still here, thank you for watching 13 minutes of me talking about the Spurs on the channel. Until next time, and as always, go Spurs go!